All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Odd Jobs Hijinks. We're about to revisit the next step of the milling of the black walnut. I've got a pile of it stacked right there. I'm going to be working off that pile. And I've got some already sitting there by the planer. What's by the planer is what I actually milled in that milling the black walnut video. What's over here on the side is what I milled up the following day of the logs I had sitting in the bushes. And again, the goal here is to get about 80 square feet. That's what I need to cover this wall. These are all rough sawn on different days, different logs. They're not all the same thickness, but they're close. I'm somewhere around a 1/2 inch 3/8. And since I'm not working just one piece of wood here, I'm working multiple pieces of wood. And I'm kind of doing this production style. You know, I'm not just doing this as a hobby at this point for what this project is. This is actually a paying project. So I'm going to be doing this production style to keep my amount of hours in as low as possible. So I'm going to be milling like this whole stack of boards. And then I'll work on that stack of boards. And the reason for that is if I mill one board, run it through, adjust the planer, run it through, adjust the planer, it's going to take me a lot longer than if I run a board, run this whole stack at one thickness, and then adjust the planer and run this whole stack at one thickness. And you'll see as I'm doing that, some of these are a little thinner than others. It might be the second or third pass before it actually starts taking anything off of that particular board. And as we talked in the other video, it's a little wavy. There's always some deflection when you're sawing with a band mill. Here, as you can see on numerous pieces, and we talked about in the other video, there's some deflection right here at this knot. And that's going to show too. It's going to plane this off before it planes that off. It's just the nature of the beast. So the planer's loud, slings a lot of dust. I got my safety glasses on. I got a couple of earbuds in my pocket that I'm going to go ahead and put in. And I just want all of you to think about that when you're running a piece of equipment like this. The planer is rather loud. It's going to make a lot of noise. I just have it set up on this makeshift table. I own these rollers that I put on the infeed and the outfeed side. It's going to make it a lot easier because I'm going to be moving pretty quick here, running back and forth, taking them off of here, stacking them on that side. So I know that that board's already been run through once on that setting that I have. And when I run it through again, I'll be putting it back on this side so that I keep my pile separate so I know where I'm at and what I'm doing. But I am going to run this whole stack, and before I get into that stack there, and we'll see where we get. I forgot to set my minimum height. This has a lockout on it, so I had it set at 3/4. I couldn't get any lower than 3/4. Of course, I didn't try to force it. I stopped, thought about it for a second, and said, "Yeah." Now I can crank it down. I'm going to start right about a half. See where we get. All right, doesn't want to go at a half either. Maybe that's about 5/8. There's that hump right there, it's that knot. That's what that was all about. All it did was touch the top of that knot. And we're going to run them all there. Try to eliminate that. And they're going to be a little hard to get going. because they're really less than 5/8. That's what it takes to get the knot through. So this can be rather time consuming, trying to plane all these down the same thickness. That's really the nature of it. I could try to force these through the planer, push them really hard. Not good for the planer, not good for me, can be rather dangerous. You start pushing really hard on there and slip, you get your fingertips inside there. A planer would have no problem eating them right up. And you'd have a bad day. Now, if this was a bigger planer, more commercial, it could handle more board footage and it could handle cutting off more at a time. I could probably feed it faster. This one here feels a little thicker. Alright, that's all once. I'm going to go ahead and drop it about 1/8 of an inch. Feed them through again. This time stack them on the other side. I'm also going to alternate the side that I feed these on. This planer will handle a 12-inch board, and either 6. So I could feed 2 at a time through there. Doesn't always work the best. It can be tough. I'll flip it all out. You'll see when I run this next one through, it's going to be coming out on what would be, from your view, the left-hand side. That last one I ran through on the other side. And all I'm doing that for is to make sure that the wearable parts on the planer are wearing evenly. I'm not running the boards through the same side all the time, dulling that one side of the blade and wearing down one side of the drive wheel. This one's probably still not going to take anything. This one feels like nothing to it. Oh, maybe. And whenever you're milling lumber for a project like this, you want to always make sure that you cut them wider and longer than you need, and thicker. Because in this process, as you go through planing them down and then truing them all up on a table saw is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to cut anything to length until I get through the job site. That way I'm going to ensure I'm getting the best out of each one of these. Some of these are 8, some of them are 6. There's a few there that might only be 4 or 5, and that's okay because the way that I'm going to be attaching the wood to the wall is going to be on a little bit of an angle, kind of like a little bit of a herringbone pattern, with the center of the wall being the high point, low on the sides. The area is 10 feet. If I was running them perfectly horizontal and seaming them in the middle, they'd only need to be 5 feet, but because I'm going to run them up on that angle like that, it's going to take longer than 5 feet. And I might like a spot of this board better than another spot of it, so I'm not going to be cutting anything to length until it's on the job. You can see with every pass here, it's taking more and more off. A couple more passes and I'll be getting almost the whole length of the board there. Really bad roots are right there on the knot on these. We're going to drop it down about another 1/8. Feed these back through again. Again, I could be force feeding this thing, but I don't want to tear my stuff up. It's not a good way to treat your tools or yourself, because you can really get hurt. Something like that. There's actually 3 blades in there, the full length of the cutting head. And it's turning at a pretty good RPM. If you were to get your hand in there because you were pushing too hard and you slipped, it wouldn't take but a fraction of a second to remove those digits that you stuck in there inadvertently because you were pushing hard, trying to go faster than you really need to go. This planer I have wasn't too horribly expensive if you were thinking about buying one. This brand is definitely better quality than what you could get at, say, Harbor Freight. Although the Harbor Freight planers are not horrible. I've used them. They work. They do work. May not have all the bells and whistles and doodads and be able to handle as much all at once. But they will get the job done. May not do it as long, but they will do the job. These 2 boards here, boy, they're already over 3/8. That's the first time I've gotten anything off of this one. There's a knot right there. Now when you rough saw something, that's what you're doing. You're rough sawing it. I just stepped on my cord and unplugged myself. Again, I'm milling black walnut here, so if you already have some kind of a respiratory issue or breathing problem, have problems with dust and pollen, this particular dust and this black walnut wood will cause some respiratory issues, no doubt. So if you were in like a closed shop, confined space, trying to do this, you may want to wear a respirator, some kind of a dust mask, or have a dust collection unit hooked up in your shop. That boy got a little thick right there. We're going to feed that one through again. Reset the planer where it was. Lock it back down and feed that through again. Trying to overload that spot. Again, there's a knot right there. And this knot is higher than right there because of the deflection. And it's had a hard time going through. This board here. It has quite a bit of beautiful walnut showing already. If you can see that coming out, I'd say one or two more passes. This board will be cleaned up, but I'm still going to run it so that everything's the same thickness. That's what I'm going for. I want everything the same. So some boards are going to have to be planed more than others. That's just the nature of the beast. Alright, we're going to reset this again, lower it down. Lower by another 8 technique. So according to the ruler right now, I'm at about 7/16. I mean 9/16. Is what the gauge is saying right now. And since what I'm really going for here is everything the same thickness and everything having the same amount of finish to it, where there's no more saw mark. If I can accomplish that and I'm still over a quarter of an inch, that's fine. If it takes a quarter of an inch to accomplish that, that's fine. But I do want all my boards the same thickness. Only because, you know, I'm veneering a wall with this, and then after I veneer that wall, I'm going to build a bookcase over it. And you're going to see the back of the bookcase. And I want to make sure that the back of the bookcase is flat. In order to achieve that, I'll need all these to be the same thickness. A lot of walking on this back and forth. If you had two people, you could have one guy at one end catching and one guy at this end pitching. But I'm just by myself. And believe it or not, I enjoy the workout. You might be looking at some of these boards, especially this one. Still got some live edge on it. You know, I'm trying to get the square footage here of what I'm going to need. So I'll use that board. I may not use all that board. That board might only use about a foot of it, 2 feet of it. We'll see. Like I said, I'm going to have this in a kind of a pointed, half the herringbone pattern. My pieces that are closest to the floor and the one closest to the ceiling are going to get shorter and shorter. Once I make contact, the last contact with the wall, and start contacting the ceiling, those pieces will get smaller and smaller, and at some point I might need just a little triangle. I'm going to try to run them, I think on a 22 and a half is what I'm going to go for. see how that works out. So the majority of the pieces will have a 22.5 long to short cut on each end. And that overall length, yeah, is what to be decided when I get there. But what I remember when I measured it, I just did a quick rough measurement to get my square footage. The little alcove this is going to go in is 8 foot tall, and actually I think it's 7 feet tall, and 10 foot wide. So being 10 foot wide, the center of it should be 5 foot. But when I get there, I'm going to do a real good layout. We're going to go down another 1/8 of an inch. All right, everybody, we're back again. I didn't realize till I was done milling all that wood that the camera had shut off, so you missed the tail end of it. But I got this whole other stack here that's almost twice as big as the first stack that we're going to start running through. And you'll get to see some really pretty boards. In the last segment, I don't know if it made it on there or not, but I was talking about my solar kiln. There it is right there. All this is a metal box. This end of it, it's open at the top, and at the other end of it, it's open at the bottom. And it allows air to come in through the lower part. Heat rises, circulates through the top. Pretty simple, easy to make. It's just a metal box, just some old metal, roofing metal that I had. We're going to go ahead and start milling. Same process. We're going to start around 5/8, ½ inch, see where we get, run every single board. Might take 3 or 4 passes before we start getting actual planeage off of each board, so they're not all the same thickness. And we'll just see where we end up. Still a beautiful day out, man. Couldn't ask for better weather here in South Central Kentucky. Let's see here. That right there is 5/8. We'll start right there and see where that takes us. So I have to make an adjustment, I will. That board is plenty long enough. I'm going to cut this one off too. I'm not seeing anything else that looks too horrible. I'm going to go grab my skill saw. Alright. Like I said, I'm cutting off this big bulge. I just don't, I'm not going to need that part of the wood. And it's really going to slow down my planting process here. Keep that saw handy in case we have any more of that we need to do along the way. All right. I'm going to cut that one off too. Away we go. All right, now that right there, that piece right there, that's a beautiful representation of some spalted wood. All that spalt in there. This is all sapwood. Getting right into the heart of the heartwood. You can see each individual ring of the heartwood gets darker and darker and darker the deeper we get into it to where we're actually in the side of it, where it's really getting dark chocolatey brown. And all this lighter wood or the outer rings coming right up to the sapwood, they just get lighter and lighter and lighter until they get light. And then this spalt, you know, just pre-laid here on the ground for a while. So that's what happens. It starts to decay, bugs get in there, fungus grows, and it creates that. This is very sought after by people that are artisans and crafters that want to make pretty stuff. Not so much for someone trying to build fine furniture, because this is the beginning of decay. But it can be stopped right here, it can be contained, and not get any worse, and enjoy all that beauty. That's a perfect example of it right there. That's nice stuff. And I'm definitely going to keep that for something else. I don't think I'll be putting that in the bookcase. Yeah, I've got some goo. Not really goo, just a lot of built up sawdust in here. Gets in all these little nooks and crannies and gets built up and just kind of slows everything down. Stops stuff from moving like it should. Set on quarter. So what that setting is that is your bottom out. So I have it set at quarter. You can set it at 0. It'll go all the way down to nothing, and you can grind your blades right into the pan if you want. But I'm going to keep it set on quarter because I don't really want to go any lower than that if I can help it. Just looking it over, checking out the drive wheels. Not even attempting to touch the blades to see if they're sharp because I know they are. A little touch of those things, boy, be bloody. And shake my sawdust out of my rollers. They're rolling nicely. Well, if you guys are looking to do stuff like this and you come across a set of these rollers at your junk store, they're worth buying. I bought 2 8-footers. I don't remember how many years ago, 10 or 12 years ago, for like 20 bucks a piece. Well worth it. When I'm trying to get a log out of the woods and there's no way to get a vehicle or anything in there, I can lay these on the ground right next to the log, roll it up on it, and, you know, move it so far and leapfrog those, keeping the log on the rollers. Works rather well when you're by yourself. You don't have a piece of equipment. All right, now lower this bad boy back down. That was just below a half. There's half. It's just below it. I'm going to put it right there and we'll see where we're at. I'm going to pause for a minute and get me a drink of water because staying hydrated is a very important part of safety, and I'm thirsty. All right. Seems like my audio is still going. I just got back to it. Got me a bottle of water. Taking a drink. Get back to it here. Remember, everybody, when you're doing this kind of stuff, stay safe. Make sure your work area is free of trip hazards, debris, extension cords. Run them down out of the way. They're not laying out where you can trip over them. Wear your safety glasses. Wear your hearing protection. I've got some buds in, some little foam buds. They don't block out everything, but they block out enough. Always play it safe. Never, ever sacrifice safety for speed. It will get you in the end every single time. Always make sure your tools are sharp, in proper working condition. Stop every now and then and check on them. Look at them. Blow the dust out of it if you've been running it for an hour like I have. Give it a chance to cool off. Be good to your stuff. It'll be good back. And drink plenty of water. All right, gonna fire it back up and get going here. Hey, ho, ho, hey. Easy, dog. Good boy. All right, folks. Let's see if this video goes out. If he just ran right through here. So I'm gonna have to pause this for a minute and get him back in his pen. So bear with me, and I'll be back in a minute. Odd Job Hijinks, where it's always something different. All right. Well, we got him back in the pen pretty painlessly. He wasn't horrible. Usually just shake a can of food at him and he goes right back. But I will have to walk the fence later on and see how he managed to let himself out. Funny thing, those goats. They can just come crashing right through your shop anytime they want, it appears. All right, everybody, back to the milling. Never gets boring around here. Always something going on. I'm gonna pull this out again. Get it off. this centered back up where it was. To a high enough height that I can get my hand in there without touching the blades, because they're sharp. Yeah, we don't want to get cut. That's bottomed out right there at a quarter. And come back up right there. It's about a 30-second lower than we were. Alright, that wraps up our planing. You can see how thin we got that. It's right out at less than a quarter. Again, this is a perfect example of some spalted black walnut. You've got the heartwood here. This was the core of the tree, the heartwood. Sap on both sides. This is all sapwood, and here it got spalted where it laid on the ground. And some of this is weak. You know, see, it's breaking apart. Excuse me. That's from all that sawdust. Beautiful piece of wood. I won't be using this on the bookcase. I'll be using this on something else. But these pieces right here, like I've been saying, I only need about 5'4" with 2 clean edges. And this is going to mount on the wall on an angle about like that. So I'll have a 22.5 on this side and a 22.5 on this side. And these will be about, it'll be over 5 foot. because it's a 10-foot area. And I think I've got enough to do it now. I think I've got plenty between these and the first batch that we milled. And if you remember, when I first stacked up these boards to be milled, the stack was about that high. And I have milled that much off of all of these. And it's down here on the ground underneath in this big pile of sawdust. I'm not going to leave that sawdust there. It'll kill the grass, all the tannic acid that's in it. But right behind the camera there, I've got a big wild spot of honeysuckle. And I usually keep logs and stacks of wood over there, and it's all overgrown. So I'm just going to put this over there and let it break down, and let it be part of what helps maybe control some of that honeysuckle. And we'll go from there. So like I said, the next step on this is going to be ripping it on the table saw down to where I have nice 2 straight edges. And again, I'm not going to cut these to length until I get to the job site, so I can pick out the best parts of it when I'm there and what's going to look best. And then I'm going to do a light sand on it with just some hand sanding there on the job site before I bring it in the house. And then I'm going to shoot it to the wall. And that's going to be that. Should be pretty cut and dry. We all have a great evening. Thanks for joining me. If you like this video, subscribe and like it. And if you don't like it again anyways. It never hurts. And if there's any questions you want to ask me specifically about what I do, just get right in there in the comments and ask me. I have no problem sharing knowledge. I can't take it with me when I leave this place, so I need to leave it behind. Everyone have a great evening, and Odd Jobs Hijinks. Join us for the next one.